When I look at the 2007 Royal Rumble, I look at it in two ways. For starters, I look at it as an overall solid show from top to bottom. Um, it was a solid Royal Rumble pay per view, finished off with a solid Royal Rumble match. And that's a good thing. You know, Royal Rumble is one of your most popular pay per views every year. And to have a solid Royal Rumble pay per view, that's a good thing. But I also look at it in a little bit of a tragic and sad sense, especially considering the three world title matches on this show. This was only 11 years ago, 2007. And out of the six wrestlers who were involved in world title matches on this show, five of them are no longer with the WWE, and two of them are no longer with us. And again, this was only 11 years ago. It's not like I'm going back 20, 25, 30 years. I'm only going back to 2007. And when I look at this show, I think of a lot of tragedy. I think of some sadness. And I also think of some what ifs and what could have beens and missed opportunities, specifically with certain wrestlers in some of the world title matches. So this Royal Rumble pay-per-view always gets two different vibes when I go back and watch. It gets the overall solid show vibe, which it was a solid show. But it also gets the sad, a kind of a sad, tragic, what could have been, what if, missed opportunity. It gets that kind of reaction too. But like I said, overall, this show was a solid show. You only had 5 matches on the show, as normal Royal Rumble pay-per-views would. They would typically have between 4 and 6 matches. So because you had the Royal Rumble match, a lot of the mid-card and undercard matches tended to produce. And this opening tag team match between MNM and the Hardys really, really produced. This was probably one of my favorite tag matches. It was probably the best match that they had, them being the Hardys versus MNM. The best match of their feud, kind of a big blow-off. It's not like this match didn't have a purpose. It did have a purpose. Back when tag teams actually had legitimate storylines, this match had one. MNM coming off of Armageddon 2006 when Joey Mercury, had that unfortunate accident during that ladder match, that busted up his nose. He wanted revenge on the Hardys, and he had his partner by his side to back him up, and they faced the Hardys in a series of pretty good matches, and this one was probably their best. Again, a match that had a purpose, and a match that produced. And that's really all you can ask for. Then you get to one of the 3 world title matches, the ECW, World Heavyweight Championship was defended between Bobby Lashley and Test. Going back to what I said about, tragedy, Test unfortunately passed away in 2007, later in 2007. You look at a guy like a Bobby Lashley, and I was high on him, and it seemed like the WWE was high on him. But every time they wanted to go there with him, they always pulled back. They always pumped the brakes. And I thought that was unfortunate because Bobby Lashley has it all, in my opinion. Yeah, you can say he doesn't have mic skills, but then again, neither does Randy Orton. And how many world titles has he won? There's a bigger issue with Bobby Lashley, and that's why he didn't get pushed in the WWE, but I'm not going to get into that. In terms of this match itself, it was a little bit awkward, a little bit odd. Out of the 5 matches on this show, you can say with full confidence that this match clearly did not belong. It wasn't a terrible match, but it just was kind of there. But then you get to the world title match, the World Heavyweight Championship match. Batista versus Mr. Kennedy. I've always loved Mr. Kennedy. You know, the gimmick itself, the performer, you know, he put on some good matches. He did some good things. He had a lot of momentum, especially in 2007, coming off of a year where he defeated, I believe, 7 world champions, 7 former world champions. A guy that beat 7 former world champions never won the belt. And part of that was in his own wrongdoing, but another part of that was just WWE not going all the way with him when they should have. You know, it's another missed opportunity. In terms of this match against Batista, again, talk about that kind of sad aspect. You know, the whole story with Batista, he's no longer with the WWE either. He had some, you know, unfortunate circumstances back in 2014 where, you know, his return didn't really get over as well as it should have. You know, after he left already in 2010, then he leaves again in 2014, and we haven't seen him since. You know, here back in 2007, he was your world champion. This was, again, only 11 years ago. And you look at the career Mr. Kennedy had afterwards, and again, you think missed opportunity. This match itself was okay, just okay. Then you get the last man standing match, John Cena versus Umaga, and again, talk about the 5 of the 6 guys that are no longer with the company. Well, unfortunately, Umaga is no longer with us. And again, he was kind of fits into that Lashley category of right when you thought the WWE was going to go with him, they pulled back, they pulled away, and they ultimately did not go with him. Which is, again, unfortunate because here's a big, bad monster at a time where WWE really needed one. Because you were starting to getting to the point where you were going to phase out The Undertaker a little bit. You know, phased out some of the guys like Kane. Big Show was gone at this time. So you really needed a monster. Umaga could have been that guy. What also, you know, kind of hurt this match was going into it, you really didn't think Umaga was going to win here. Especially considering, you know, the title reign that John Cena ultimately had. You know, in 2006 and into 2007. It seems like at the time, nobody was going to lose to John Cena. Or nobody was going to beat John Cena, I should say. Again, missed opportunity with Umaga. This match, however, last man standing match, it's kind of hard to screw it up. The WWE didn't screw it up. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. You know, it's not really one to write home about, but it is one that if you go back and watch it, you'll probably enjoy it. So yeah, go check that match out. Then you get to the Royal Rumble match, and again, a solid Royal Rumble match. And I think that the WWE went in the right direction, I should say, with the Final Four. The Final Four being Randy Orton, Edge, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker. And I also thought it was wise for the WWE to completely phase out Edge and Randy Orton relatively quickly. So this way you got to Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, and you had that kind of big fight feel, even if it was only for a few minutes. You know, you had Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. Obviously, it wasn't as good as anything they did in 2009 and then 2010, but here, again, you had kind of that big fight feel, that feel-good moment, you know, history, that historical kind of moment, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, you know, epic rivalry, epic clash as the final 2. And The Undertaker went over in the right way. He should have. Ultimately, Shawn got the title match anyway. So, you know, Undertaker going over, it set up a great feud with Batista. Shawn Michaels losing in the way that he did set up a feud with John Cena over the title, which wasn't bad. You know, and hey, you got Edge and Randy Orton, 2 guys you were definitely high on, in the Final Four with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. That's a good thing. You know, Royal Rumble 2007 might not have been the best Rumble ever, but it did do some good stuff. It's just a shame that, again, once I go back and look at everybody involved, especially in those 3 world title matches, it's just a shame that, you ultimately think of what could have been and what should have been, and unfortunately, what wasn't.